I'm going to show you exactly how Blood Angels crush an 11th. So if you're a Blood Angel player or you expect to play against Blood Angels, hint, you're going to play against Blood Angels, you really need to watch this video because it's going to be super important for your success in the game Warhammer 40,000. Guys, I'm Dot Crump. I'm a top 100 player and I'm a professional Warhammer 40,000 coach. I'm also a chiropractic neurologist. And in my prior career, what I would do is I would use critical thinking to work my way through very complex patients. So I took that exact same critical thinking from my previous career and now I apply it to Warhammer 40,000 because it's freaking awesome. And I help you develop the critical thinking that is required to become the top level player that you can possibly be. Because that's all you need to understand about Warhammer 40,000 is that this game is all on you and your ability to solve problems. So let's jump right into this freaking video. What we're going to talk about today is the sick things that we can do utilizing a fast pressure army on the tabletop. And once again, if you're not playing one of these fast pressure armies, you need to know what it's capable of so you know how to counter it. So it's an incredible time to be a Blood Angel player for a lot of different reasons. One, they just absolutely adore the 11th edition rule set. It's very, very conducive to fast melee armies like this. It loves the disposition system because it's got access to all sorts of really good dispositions. You've got access to all the purge you could possibly want. You've got access to the take and hold. You've got access to priority assets. And if you guys know anything about me, I love take and hold. And that being on their Liberated Assault group, it's such a beautiful thing. They've got extremely exciting units, which also very, very much so benefit from the rules in 11th edition. And we're going to talk a lot about what pressure play means, but they've got incredible pressure play. and It's a very, very nice thing. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you exactly how Blood Angels play. I'm going to take it to the TTS screen. I'm going to show you how they're going to move up the board, what you need to be aware of as a pressure player. I'm going to define pressure play for you. And then I'm going to give you a list that you guys can just take to the bank and understand that this list is pretty amazing. And you can just start there if you're looking for a place to start with Blood Angels. So let's hop right into it. And by the way, if you guys like this content, you can subscribe, you can share this video with your friends because that really helps the channel grow. And I really, really, really very big thank you to all of my supporters on Coffee and my YouTube members and everyone in the Discord because this stuff exists because you guys allow it to exist. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's talk about Warhammer. It's time. So, Blood Angels is a pressure play army. And these principles right here apply whether you're an Orcs player, you're a Chaos Space Marines player, it applies if you're a Salamanders player, it applies even if you're a Tau player. All these armies have something in common. They are pressure play armies. And what pressure play armies really want to do in a nutshell is that they want to force mistakes from the opponent by applying, you guessed it, pressure. Now, let me give you the ideal scenario for a pressure play army. And I'm not so naive to think that this ideal scenario I'm about to paint for you will ever actually happen on the tabletop. But what I find is really, really useful is if I give myself, if I can identify what my ideal situation is, and the closer I get to that ideal, the more likely it is that I'm going to have a really good game. So I always try to work towards this. All right, so the ideal situation is that I've set up and I'm able to charge 2,000 points of my army into 2,000 points of your army, and I'm going to obliterate approximately 1,000 points of your army. Then, in the following turn on the clapback, I don't care that my 2,000 points of my army is out in the open, and you get to hit me with the 1,000 points that's remaining of your army. Just doesn't matter because at that point you're not going to deplete my resources fast enough, and I'm going to continue to deplete your resources, and I win the game. Now, that is the 10,000 foot view of what we want with a pressure play army. We would, especially with a fast melee pressure play army, we want to be able to hit our opponent first. We want to be able to deplete their resources and go from there. Now, that ideal we will apply to the disposition system to give us the greatest chance of creating a victory point differential in our favor. So, by utilizing these principles, what we get to do is we set up these overwhelming turns where we just give our opponent too many choices, or ideally too many bad choices where they don't really know what to do. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you on the TTS screen here in just a moment. So if you're a little confused, stay tuned. That will all become clear for you. But we get to utilize things like staging. We get to utilize things like our speed, things like our rapid ingresses to get up these extremely aggressive positions on the board. And when I use the term aggressive, which once again I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment, I don't mean standing out in the middle of nowhere like a crazy idiot hoping to get shot. What I mean is you are setting up in a position on the board that is forcing a response from your opponent, ideally before your opponent is prepared to respond appropriately. Now, what are some of the Blood Angels tools that allow them to make use of these things? Well, they are very, very fast. Base move 12 on effectively, 80% of their army, because they're going to be spamming jump packs infantry. That's just what they're going to do. They've got very hard-hitting melee units, whether you're taking Death Company with 4 rolls to hit or Sanguinary Guard with their AP3 in melee or their AP2 Lance in melee. You've got incredible tactical flexibility because you've got access to the Space Marine units, and you've got some very, very, very staggering unique units, such as Mr. McFistin himself, which I have demonstrated right here. This guy is a total freaking legend. There's one other thing I kind of glossed over here, and I want to mention it here right now. One of the greatest assets to the Blood Angels, and really any pressure play army in the game in this edition, is the hidden mechanic. That is everything. I'm going to do an entire dedicated video to the hidden mechanic, but if you don't know what it is, hidden mechanic, if you are an infantry, beast, or swarm, and you are within terrain, you gain, and you have not shot this turn or the previous turn, and please note what I just said, if you have not shot this turn or the previous turn, it means if you overwatch, you lose the benefit of hidden. So if you have not shot this turn or the previous turn, you are infantry, beast, or swarm, and you are within terrain, then you have a effective, you can only be targeted if your opponent is within 15 inches of you. So effectively gives you 15-inch loan up. Now there are mechanics in the game that can extend or even decrease this detection range. One of the most prime examples would be the gone to ground rule. If you don't know what that is, please type it into the Warhammer 40k app and it will pull up for you. So the gone to ground rule will say if you are hidden and you are at least partially obscured with every model that is visible by a solid terrain piece, you will gain -3 to your detection range, effectively making your unit loan up 12. It's not exactly the same thing as loan up 12, because loan up units, they can stand anywhere and you can't target them outside of 12. But with this, if you're hidden, meaning you're within terrain, infantry, beast, or swarm, you have not shot this turn or the previous turn, and you are at least partially obscured by that solid terrain piece, you will become hidden. This will define how we use pressure play, and I'm going to demonstrate that in 2 slides for you as I'm going to walk you through how we move up the table. All right. Now, one of the cool things about being a pressure play style army is that you can be a pressure play army in multiple different dispositions. So, for example, if you are a Purge the Foe style army, now this is the type of army that desperately wants to be up in your face, killing you from turn 1, killing units in turn 2, and just continuously going throughout the entire game. So, all Purge the Foe armies get at least 3 points a turn just for removing a unit of their opponents from the battlefield. Pressure play is great for this style of army because all you're doing is you're trying to set up the next murder. It's really, really nice. Now, for a take and hold style army, which scores very differently, which scores by just holding objectives, taking objectives, and holding them, this is a really, really, really great way to set up pressure play because you can stand holding your objectives, forcing your opponent to come closer to you. If they want to ever shoot you or deal with you, they're going to have to get within that critical 15 to 12-inch range, and then basically your entire army already moves 12 inches, so it more or less guarantees that if they ever want to interact with you, they are getting annihilated in the next turn. It's a very, very good way to set up these devastating turns, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you. And then lastly, priority assets gets to do a very similar thing to the take and hold. By forcing their opponent to extend first, because if your opponent doesn't extend into you, you're going to be racking up tons of points on all the actions you're doing. So now let me jump over to the TTS screen here. I've got a real treat for you guys. All right, magic of internet editing here. So we are now on a TTS screen. So I'm going to show you exactly how I would like to move up the board if I was a Blood Angels player, just to get you guys like nice and used to this. So I'm just going to set up a Custodes army against a Blood Angels army here. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, a couple rules. I am demonstrating a theory, so I'm not going to make sure every single line is 100% accurate. I want you to understand the theory so that you can start utilizing this in your game. I'm also going to set up some scenarios that might not be completely realistic for how it would play out on the tabletop, because I need to make it obvious so that you guys can understand the conversation, so that you can actually understand the point, and then you will have to start integrating it into your games. If you want more help on that, you're more than welcome to book a coaching call with me, which you can find in the link in the description down below. But if I'm a Blood Angel player, I'm playing Take and Hold, this is on a Purge the Foe map. Let's just say I'm playing against a Shield Host Custodes army. Blade Chain goes with like these nerds or something, and then let's say we have 2 of those. Right here on this deployment, what you can see is I've got Dante and Sanguinary Guard who are right behind this objective. They really can't be seen. There's basically no way that they could possibly be seen from here. I'll just rotate the little sword. They can't be seen from right here. So if your opponent moves into the center and wants to shoot through, they can't be seen. They can't be seen from over here because your opponent just won't be able to draw line of sight into them. So they're perfectly safe here. I've got a 10-man unit of Terminators, and if you guys don't understand why this is really good, maybe come join me for my live later this week where I'm going to be talking about some very unexpected, super good units in 10th edition. I've got Mephiston, or Mick Fiston, who's going to deploy right on the line with his super, super interesting loadout 12, and he's going to be doing some very cool things. We've got some JPI and another squad of Sanguinary Guard. Now, people might be surprised that they're deployed out in the open, but remember, in this edition, when they're within this terrain, they have 15-inch loan op. So if my opponent really wants to turn 1, come on, murder these guys, they're going to have to put something relatively significant because they're going to have to get through the -1 to hit, a potential armor attempt, and other things to kill them. And if they do that, they're practically guaranteed to get annihilated by me super, super early in the game. Whereas my Sanguinary Guard are a little bit further back. So if you want to get within 15 inches, you'd have to get right here. And that is, that's over 15 inches from the deployment zone. So nothing in the Custodes army is actually going to go that far. I guess a bite could technically go that far if they advance, but they don't really have assault, so it's like, doesn't really matter if they do that because they don't have assault, so they can't advance and shoot. So who cares? Now, of course, if your opponent does have the ability to get up here and shoot you, you won't deploy just like this. You would have to make adjustments for that, so just be aware of the scenario. Okay, cool. So turn 1, if I'm playing against a Purge the Foe army, and I'm using Purge the Foe as an example because 54% of the field is Purge the Foe right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Chief Liberian Mephiston, and I'm going to advance him right here in the center just to hold this center objective. Take and hold against Purge the Foe, you get 3 points for taking the center objective. The reason why Mephiston is so super freaking powerful here is because he is lone op, which means he doesn't even need the gun to ground, but even though he has the gun to ground, he can stand right here. Your opponent can get all the way into the center and still can't shoot them because even if they get within 12 inches, they still won't be able to draw a line of sight. There's absolutely still a huge wall in the way that's blocking them. If your opponent wants to shoot you from this angle, they're going to have to shoot you from this angle over here. And when they're shooting you from this angle, they best be within 12 inches. So they're going to have to be standing roughly right here. Now, this isn't the only way I do this, right? So once Mephiston runs up here, at the same time, I'm probably going to be advancing my Sanguinary Guard to come stand in this pocket. Now, this is a really cool mechanic that we get to utilize in 11th edition that we didn't get to utilize in 10th edition. Let's say this gravity tank actually comes up here to shoot and kill Mephiston. Remember, he's going to have to be able to draw physical line of sight into me. So let me just take this little pen here, and they can see through the wall because of that. And they're going to have to be within just enough just so that they can actually still be within 12 inches to shoot them. Once he does this, this really opens up the possibility of my Sanguinary Guard charging that Caladius gravity tank in turn 1. That's really, really bad for the Custodes player due to the new heroic intervention rules where I could spend 2 CP to charge someone who's within 6 inches of me, even if they haven't charged this turn. Now, I know some people watching this are going to be like, oh, the Caladius could just shoot the Sanguinary Guard. Yeah, sure, that's fine, but he's not going to kill the Sanguinary Guard. And as a Purge the Foe army, he really desperately wants to be killing a unit. So he's not killing Mephiston here. And if he does kill the Mephiston, then the Sanguinary Guard dramatically get to punish him. And this is the type of thing I want you setting up as a Blood Angel or a Pressure player. If your opponent is going to get your unit, punish them brutally for it. And the cool thing is that we can do that horrifically against our opponent in turn 1 with this new mechanic of being able to charge outside of our charge phase. This is such a powerful deal. I hope you guys understand this. So even if he's successful in killing Mephiston, he gets his 3 points. Well, I'm going to kill his Caladius gravity tank in his turn, which then allows me in my turn too, after I do my pile-ins, right, to go and murder whatever else needs to get murdered in the army, meaning that this unit has dramatically traded up in value. Let me show you another really cool thing that gets to happen in the new edition. So in the new edition, I can have, I don't know, say Terminator bodies. Just pretend these are Terminator bodies that are sitting right here. Yeah, actually, no, I've got Terminator bodies right here. Let me use these. I can have these Terminator bodies sitting right here underneath this ruin wall. And as they are sitting right here, now they get 12-inch loan up because of the wall is covering them. So even if our Caladius Gravity Tank on the other flank wants to shoot them, boom, 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 it's going to have to cross this line to do it. If it crosses this line to actually draw a line of sight in and shoot me, which as of right now, I could probably make it so it couldn't even shoot from there, because this guy is 12 inches, more than 12 inches away, so we couldn't shoot him, coming all the way up. This guarantees me a charge with my Sanguinary Guard in my next turn. It's pretty brutal because of making use of the cases of hidden and gone to ground. Now we can make this even more exciting, because one of the ways that you tend to counter things like this is you just want to out OC your opponent. So let's say your opponent has, like, I don't know, a big squad of prosecutors over here, and the prosecutors have much more OC than my Terminators. In 11th edition, they could just come and stand right here and put more OC, stop me from scoring. But now in 11th edition, just like we demonstrated over here killing the Caladius Gravity Tanks, I could also just charge the prosecutors. 2 CP on Heroic Intervention, even if they didn't charge. It can be absolutely brutal. Then lastly, the thing I want to show you about how to move up a table with a pressure style army is I want you to take your understanding of the new rules and utilize your rapid ingresses. Let's say our Custodes player, he moved his Alaris up here. They're on the first floor. Just say they're on the first floor. You've got guard coming up and standing right here, just barely touching, and they're going to be making use of their very own gone to ground to make sure that you can't shoot them, because they're going to have their 12-inch loan up. We've got a Caladius Gravity Tank coming up here to start shooting these Terminators down, and you got this Caladius Gravity Tank who wants to come kill Mephiston. Well, I can actually rapid ingress my Sanguinary Guard right here and be 100% safe, because the entire unit is going to have that sweet, sweet hidden / gone to ground rule. If I stand right here, this gravity tank cannot target me, even if it can draw line of sight, because of that sweet, sweet hidden rule. And then over on this flank, they can't target me because I'm outside of 15 because of the hidden rule. So I could do this on a rapid ingress, full out and line of sight of my opponent. They can see absolutely everything, and they can't do anything about it due to the fact that I haven't shot this turn or last turn, and I am an infantry beast or swarm within terrain. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. This allows me to immediately go and annihilate my opponents. So you can utilize all the new rules of 11th edition to make your pressure play army function significantly more powerful. I hope you guys understand how freaking valuable that really, really is. So what I want to do now is I want to go right back to the PowerPoint, and I'm going to give you guys a army list to get you started so that you can really start making use of these principles. So here's the list. It's a take and hold list. You can do this with a purge list. You can do this with priority assets. It's totally fine. This is the list that I really like just to get you guys started. So we're going to take Liberated Assault Group. We have Chief Librarian Mephiston and the Sanguinar. Now, I know a lot of people don't necessarily like the Sanguinar. I love the Sanguinar. I know there's some issues with him right now. I still find him worth it. I can go into why at another time, or you can ask me in the Discord or something. Now, the reason why Chief Mephiston is so strong is because he requires your opponent to overcommit into killing him. There's also some things in the game that just really can't kill him. So let's say you're playing against the Emperor's Children, and we put Chief Librarian Mephiston in that same pocket in turn 1 to go grab that center objective, just like I demonstrated for you. EC the only thing that they might be able to get into him, past the 12-inch loan up and the gone to ground and all that stuff, and the wall that's in the way, is they might have to charge him with a Lord Exultant and 5 Infractors. Well, those guys go into Mephiston, who has a 2-up armor save, 1 CP for Armor of Contempt. I don't care that your guys are just re-rolling wound rolls with their AP 1 into me, because I'm T5, which means you're wounding me on 5s, and then all of a sudden, I'm also having a 4-up Feel No Pain from Chief Librarian Mephiston. So when the Lord Exultant and that squad charges into Mephiston, Mephiston laughs at them, probably suffers about 3 to 4 wounds total, and then slaughters the entire squad on his own. Meaning now the EC have lost a unit in turn 1 instead of killing your unit turn 1, and you are in a bad position. If you had, or the EC player would be in a bad position. Now, once again, just a scenario, but Mephiston opens up things like this for you. Now, let's talk about the characters with their entourages. For 1,195 points total in this slot, we have a Captain with Jump Pack who is leading 3 Sanguinary Guard. And sorry, I had previously had an enhancement, so I'm just going to delete these because that is not on there. Pardon me. With 3 Sanguinary Guard. Super, super valuable unit. I like it a lot. Commander Dante with 6 Sanguinary Guard. Incredible unit. With their +1 to advance, +1 to charge. Even in 11th edition, where you can fail a charge on a roll of a 2, because you would minimum need a roll of a 3 to succeed, Dante will never fail that charge. Those +1 to charge modifiers are also a really big deal, especially when you consider the fact that you cannot utilize another stratagem on a unit in the same phase. So if you use one stratagem, that's it. If I spend a CP to heroically intervene and I fail the charge, I cannot then use another CP to reroll that charge roll. Can't be done. So having modifiers make things like that much more available for you, and it makes it much more reliable. And then Sanguinary Guard are just absolutely amazing. Flying Terminators. Who knew? Pretty good. We're going to have a Death Company captain with Jump Pack, and he's going to be leading 5 Death Companies with Jump Packs, Assault Intercessors. Jeez. 5 Death Company Marines with Jump Packs and Power Fist. This is an incredibly killy unit, and utilizing the rules of Hidden, you can actually tend to rapid ingress them in places that your opponent would not expect. Utilizing the things of Hidden and Gone to Ground, you can rapid ingress them, totally visible to your opponent's army, yet still impossible to be dealt with because you're 15.1 inches away or 12.1 inches away, depending on whether you've gone to ground or not. And then they can just go and smash and murder the faces off of whatever needs to die. That unit by itself will kill a greater demon. 210 points, it's disgusting. I give them the gift of Foresight Enhancement because what this does is it allows you to flip one of your dice to a 6. So you're fishing for sustained hits on the entire unit because the captain gives a unit sustained hits with like something obnoxious, like almost 20 Power Fist or Power Fist equivalent hits. They all have sustained hits. You're fishing for it. They always reroll hit rolls because they're Death Company. They don't even need it at the moment. And then you can give a 1 CP strap to give them also lethal, which means now you're fully fishing for both sustained and lethal with like 20 strength 10 Power Fist equivalent attacks. And then one of those dice for the captain, you just flip to a 6 after you see that it's not a 6, which guarantees you yet another lethal and yet another sustained. And then you roll a wound. You can give them Lance. You don't care about them being battle shocked because your plan is for them to die after they activate anyway. So they're going to kill something that is much more valuable points-wise than what they are, which can open up massive holes in your opponent's lines. So I love them. And then this big squad that makes the army tick is the Librarian and Terminator armor with 10 Terminator Assault Squad. This is a disgusting unit. Now, it's 325 points because I'm going to give them 3 Storm Shields and Thunder Hammers. So it would be 310 with all Lightning Claws. This squad is one of the hardest hitting units in the entire game. Remember, Liberty Assault Group, +2 strength, +1 attack on the charge, which means all those Lightning Claws go to 7 attacks at strike 7 base. You can also lethal and lance them. The Librarian and Terminator armor gives them sustained hits. Stack that with Oath of Moment where you get full rerolls on everything. It's absolutely insane. And it's an incredibly defensible unit as well. Infantry, sticking with Hidden, Gone to Ground, makes it very hard to shoot them, which means your opponent is typically going to have to be dealing with them in either melee or obnoxiously close. And if they get obnoxiously close to you, you will be annihilating them in the next turn. This is a stark contrast to 10th edition, where in 10th edition, what would happen is they would shoot you from 72 inches away and you would be useless. That's really bad. But in this edition, no, it doesn't work that way. Not to mention, the last thing about the Librarian here is he gives them a Fort Field of Pain against psychic attacks. And if you don't know why this is such a big deal, it's because psychic attacks are one of the most common types of weapons that you're going to see in 11th edition because they ignore all hit and ballistic skill modifiers, making them very, very efficient. These are going to be things like the entire T-Sun's army, the entire Grey Knight's army, and both of those armies are historically great counters into Blood Angels. Chaos Demons, especially Scintillating Legion with all the flat 3 damage chickens, which is one of the scariest armies in the game and units in the game. That's a Purge Foe army, by the way. And then you also have things like Tyranids, Maleceptors, Zonethropes. These things also have lots of psychic attacks. So you're getting a Fort Feel No Pain against all of that stuff, which will cut the damage drastically. I went to play at a GT a few weeks ago. I ended up going undefeated. We had a guy who brought a Salamander army, and he ran into our WTC T-Suns player. And his Salamanders had a 10-man Assault Intercessor or Assault Terminator squad with a Librarian leading them. And our buddy, God rest his soul, dropped 1,800 points of a T-Suns army into this one squad and killed like 7 Terminators. And at that point, you just hang it up. The game's done. It is kind of insane how big a durability buff of having that Fort Field of Pain against psychic attacks is in 11th edition, where everyone is spamming psychic attacks. So be aware of that. Then lastly, we have a 5-man squad of JPI, a little skirmishing unit, a little speed. Sometimes you want to go kill a 10-man unit, a guardsman, and you don't want to put your 125-point unit of Sanguinary Guard into it. Infiltrators are incredible. I think it was Ennis Wilson of StatCheck, shout out to him, who said it really, really well. Marine players who don't take infiltrators are just getting greedy. Put a little nuance on that. You got to have a good reason not to take infiltrators. And for a take and hold player, One squad of infiltrators is going to mean that you automatically win the matchup against recon, and that's worth a single unit in my experience. It's also really nice that you don't have to worry about your backfield, so it's just good outside of those dispositions matches ups, but I take them. Anyway, then lastly, I take 2 ball predators and a Calidus assassin in this army. The ball predators are absolutely bonkers amazing, especially with their dramatic speed. You can get into your opponent's lines way earlier than they are expecting, and you can wreak havoc on them. Especially if you're playing an army like T-Suns, which is going to have a lot of this really elite infantry that's going to annihilate your infantry. Well, God rest their soul, because you're about to light it up, baby. So I love this army. It's a great place to start. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. All right, guys, this is Pressure Play with Blood Angels. I showed you exactly how they're going to be moving up the table. I showed you some tricks to get them there more safely and more efficiently. I showed you some really, really cool stuff with how to abuse the heroic intervention rules in 11th edition. And we spoke a lot about utilizing hidden and gone to ground. If you like this content, please let me know in the comments down below. It really helps me. Comments and likes really help to push the algorithm. And if you want more personalized attention, you can book services with me at the link down below at my coffee, where we can do some one-on-one coaching, or you can join in on group coaching. Also, if one-on-one coaching doesn't sound like for you, be on the lookout, because I am launching an accelerator course, which is going to be group calls coming up here pretty soon, where we're going to be going through all the principles of list building and disposition countering and deployment. Very, very in depth. So be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, until next time, crump on. Bye bye.